It was noontime today in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Well, today, a little bit of conspiracy and a little bit of badass. We're going to talk about Admiral Byrd. That would be Admiral Richard E. Byrd. He basically explored both the North and South Poles. Kind of a badass. Kevin, let's talk about Admiral Byrd. He basically set the standard. You know, it turns out we didn't used to explore everything with drones and whatever. You actually had to like get in a plane and go there yourself. And
Right.
that's a bit of work. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so he was born in 1888. That was before the Wright brothers flight, which was in 1903. So he was first commissioned in 1912, and he was stationed on the ship battleship Wyoming.
Okay.
He was not a pilot at the time. That wasn't really a thing in
Not a lot of pilots before the Wright brothers.
No. So he won the Silver Life-Saving Medal. That was for jumping in and saving a guy that had fallen overboard. He was a pretty good swimmer. He was a pretty good naval officer. And basically he did a short service and was medically retired in 1916 due to an ankle injury. Then World War I started, and they recalled him to active duty in 1917. 1918, he qualified as a naval aviator, and after the war, 1926 is when he started his first Arctic explorations. So he reached the North Pole in 1926, which is 23 years after the Wright brothers' first flight. Now, if you guys have ever seen that plane, the Wright brothers plane, it's a little ridiculous looking,
Yeah.
It's canvas, it's balsa wood. They got a little engine with a propeller on the front, and you basically just lay on it and fly it like that. It wasn't a safe plane, and it wasn't really very good, but it could maneuver left and right. It could go up and down, which was, groundbreaking for the time when it, was invented. The Wright brothers were able to, they were from Ohio, right? But they had to find a place that had sustained winds. So they went down to Kitty Hawk. And I don't know if you've ever been there. Have you been down there, Chuck?
I've
Kitty
been
Hawk?
down. Yeah. No, big sand dunes.
Yeah. And so they basically just got a track and ran this canvas balsa wood plane down the track until it got enough speed that it, picked up and lifted off. And if, flew for 100 feet or so, and then they landed it, they knew that it worked, and they started, working it out from them, refining it from there.
Yeah. So basically his plane, you had a real engine, you had a serious motor, but as far as the whole balsa wood thing, this is basically like the same thing, except they threw some sheet metal on the outside to kind of make it look a little better, but it's not much more impressive. And he's kind of a badass. It was basically an engine and then some really thin walls to protect you. So it's not exactly what you want to be, flying over the Arctic with. You think of how we deal with problems now and anything can come up, but imagine the technology and where we were in 1926 or 29. Where are we?
27. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little different. It's a little crazy.
Yeah. And I don't have any idea how they didn't freeze to death, just trying it. Those planes crashed all the time.
Yeah.
from
No, so
whatever.
Admiral
Everything went wrong.
Byrd, yeah, Admiral Byrd had he was really a badass. He did both poles. So, but I always see him, with the hardcore like winter coat with the big, the big fur lining around the neck. So, he definitely knew how to dress for winter, but it's something, man. Anybody who could brave that. So he flew over the North Pole in 1926, and then the South Pole in 1929.
Hmm.
I mean, just to start, he did 5 Arctic expeditions.
Right. Right. So he after the North Pole expedition in 1927, he tried to do the first transatlantic um, flight. Sorry, and it didn't go well. They
No,
they crashed and basically got pretty fucked up, and they were able to complete the transatlantic flight, but it ended up being 2 months after Lindbergh did it.
uh-huh.
So Lindbergh had actually applied to fly with them, and he was too late to join their crew.
Okay.
And so he flew the Spirit of St. Louis and did the transatlantic flight and beat him by 2 months. In July 1st in 1927, they did successfully get across the Atlantic and ended up crash landing in Normandy Beach. So didn't quite make it as the first transatlantic flight, but they were pretty damn close.
No, but I feel like he holds his own with firsts and expeditions. So I mean,
Right.
really, not a lot of people can say they've been to the North Pole, like exactly, and the South Pole, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've done a lot of traveling and never never been to Antarctica. I've been to Africa and Asia and Europe and South America, but I've never been to Antarctica.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 1927, then in 1929. Now, the first time when he went to the North Pole, it was kind of like one of those, I was there and just trust me on that. So
Right.
that was a little, there was a little question of whether he was in the exact spot or whatever, but I'm going to give it to him. Then in 1929, he flies from the Antarctica's Ross Ice Shelf, flies 1,500 miles round trip to go fly over the South Pole. And this is undisputed. He crossed, mountain ranges, whatever, all completely unexplored. It was minus 60 degrees. Now, right now, I'm in North Carolina and it's 20 degrees, and I don't want to be outside. So minus 60.
Yeah.
Flying in a questionable aircraft, engine icing up. They had oxygen issues, fuel calculations. He's doing it by hand. It's not the modern world that you have today. And
Mhm.
basically, international hero. They actually gave him the Medal of Honor for
Right.
for this one because it is still exploring the unknown world. You're bringing new things into existence, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, I think he was credited with basically discovering a lot of these mountain ranges. Discovered the largest volcano in Antarctica, right? Dormant volcano.
Yeah.
And just generally he did a lot of he went to a lot of places nobody had ever been before and saw a lot of stuff nobody had ever seen before. The Antarctic was basically unresearched. People had gone around the edges, but nobody had ever really gone in. And so he had several expeditions, 1928 to 1930. The second one was 1933 to 1934. And then 1939, 1940, and then another expedition, Operation Highjump in 1946.
All right. Before we get to high jump, so just one more. I mean, the guy's just full of freaking awesome stories, so I hate to, overlook them. But 1934, he did 5 months in Antarctica, all, on his own by himself, and he volunteered to live alone at an advanced weather station called Bowling Advanced Base, 120 miles from the main camp, basically.
Mhm.
It was the Antarctic winter, so total darkness, minus 80 degrees, and ended up getting carbon monoxide poisoning from his generator. You know how they tell you don't run the generator in the
Yeah.
house? Well, so he's like slowly deteriorating because it's, a little bit. And so he's hallucinating. He can't move really. He's got mental fog. Basically, he's going to die alone in the dark. And he knew something was wrong. And he kept calling and just pretending everything was cool on the radio because he didn't want other people to come risk their lives to save him. So
Mhm.
really kind of a badass,
Yeah, I
Um,
remember reading a story about that. Reading it was basically a newspaper article about this thing, and he had the base set up, and it was it was relatively warm inside, and he had was set up with silk gloves and silk clothing to keep because you get frostbite and regular clothing will like rub the skin right off your body.
yeah.
So he had like silk garments underneath all of his clothing, and every day he would go out and go for a walk, like just to be out there. And bro, if I was in Antarctica in a somewhat warm building, I would not be just going out for walks every day to just
Kevin, you got to keep moving, see if anything's going to fall
Yeah.
off. Just
Well,
shake it off a little bit.
He said he needed his exercise. Bro, you can exercise, run in place, man.
Jog in place, some jumping jacks.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess that defeats the purpose of having a forward, base in Antarctica if you're just staying inside a building and trying to look out a window,
Yeah. No, exactly. All right. So now we'll skip forward, like you said. Operation Highjump. This is one of the more famous ones. 1946 to 47. Largest Antarctic expedition ever at the time. 4,700 men, 13 ships. This was icebreakers and submarines, multiple aircraft. And it was basically to test cold weather warfare, equipment performance, and logistics in extreme environments. Basically, one of those just to see, could we do it? How badass are we? And so if you're going to do something that badass, you're going to send your most badass guy. And
right. Obviously.
Obviously. I mean, you'd look for somebody like Kevin,
But no, not me, because I would have stayed. I wouldn't even gone for the walks.
Yeah, you would have stayed in the igloo. Huh?
I would stayed inside, man.
A master of mental toughness is the description. What do you have on high jump?
Well, I mean, high jump was the famous one in the conspiracy circles, right?
Yeah,
that was that was the a lot of people talk about secret Nazi bases down there. Some people say that Hitler actually took a submarine and escaped to Antarctica and then went to Argentina from there.
Yes,
there's all sorts of stories about like secret Nazi, bases in Antarctica. Now, none of that is confirmed. None of those things are, there was a Nazi expedition to Antarctica. Not much is known about it. And there's a lot more conspiracy about it than there is facts.
Oh, yeah. But Kevin, fact, conspiracy, it's a fine line. And more in today's world, are we not discovering that a lot of people's conspiracies are really, turns out they were all fact?
Turns out they're true.
Yeah, it's one of those, conspiracy is a fact we haven't proven yet. How about that?
That's right.
That's how I like to frame it, whether it's true or not. That's my own version of how we look at that.
Yeah, it's looking like some stories are coming out just past couple days about Bill Gates getting an STD over down at Epstein Island. Like,
And I did see some pictures of Slick Willie and some girls. So there's a lot of things going on there. I don't know. But
it was
again,
conspiracy, and now, like, man, pictures are coming out.
pictures are coming out. I heard partial things. I feel like the list that you're going to get from the whole, we're a little sidetracked. I'm sorry. But the whole that you're going to get from the Epstein stuff is whoever's in charge. So right now, Republican types, right? You're going to get the half of these people are our enemies. So look, they're all on the list.
Right.
And then later you get like the other half, when Democrats are in office, then they'll be like, no, this is the list you need to see,
Yeah.
We had to redact all these ones of people who are my friends. And then,
right.
That's how it works. But yeah, so back to conspiracies at hand. Admiral Byrd opened up a freaking enormous can of conspiracies. They just keep flowing out, we will say. It's so many great things. Hollow Earth comes from him. The whole ice shelf. We're going to dig into some of these and see what we can unearth here. You like that unearth?
Yeah.
All right. So there are hard things that. So one of the things is like people always say, well, why didn't we go back? Well, one, it's like the moon. It's kind of hard. Right. I mean, that's why we're not going back. It's expensive. We've already done it and whatever. But so it is like the facts of why we don't go back it's brutally expensive. Logistically, it's a pain in the ass. I mean, it's just a big nightmare. And it turns out because of all this, it's politically restricted by treaty. Now let's talk about the Antarctic Treaty of 1959. So there's a lot of things going on there. It was a international agreement that shaped basically how to govern Antarctica. Everyone's like, oh, it's because the aliens are there and we made a deal with the aliens and, we're just not going to go back. So there's a lot of, I'm not sure that's not actually in the official documents of why we did.
You have to read between the lines, though. You know what I mean?
Lines, right?
Right.
Exactly. The treaty prohibits any military activity, which on the surface sounds good, but conspiracy theorists argue that its main function is to prevent discovery of what's really hidden there.
Right.
The world's superpowers, they want to hide stuff, keep it a secret ice wall holding back unknown worlds, Kevin. What if all the good resources, like what is it, flan? What's the stuff people like to eat? It's really good that us poor common folks
a lake of it.
Yeah,
lake of
there's
flan.
like lakes of it. Yeah, so whatever. It's that kind of thing.
So he had said that there were large amounts of coal and oil, and he expected that they would find deposits of uranium.
Yep.
But there's coal and oil in a lot of places that it's a lot easier to access. So it's not really realistic to go there for resources.
Yeah, but there could be suppressed technologies and lost civilizations there, Kevin. And maybe we'd find out if the world was flat if we went beyond the ice wall. That's
what's beyond the ice wall. Yeah. Because
UFOs.
According to flat earth theories, right?
Yes.
Everything, it's like a disc shape, and every direction you go is going to lead you to Antarctica eventually, right? It's going to lead you to the ice wall. It's around all sides. Instead of like us being around the continents being around Antarctica, Antarctica is around the continents.
Now you're getting it. Exactly. Yeah, and that's it. It's all the way, because you go all the way to the north and you go all the way to the south. Both times you hit a big ice thing. So we're in the middle. Yeah, that's a given, Kevin. That's what we call fact here on the Survival and Basic Badass Pod.
Now, let's talk real quick. Now, after Admiral Byrd died,
okay,
he his diary, his
That's
personal
where a lot of
diary
it
came
comes
to
from.
light.
Yeah.
Right. And there was some weird stuff in there.
Now, who was the astronaut that kind of like reshaped everything at the end? It was what the first guy to walk on the moon, right? It was oh, what is it?
Buzz Aldrin? It
Neil
was Neil
Armstrong.
Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was Neil that was like all of a sudden, people are like, oh, he might be not as sharp as he used to be. And he's starting to say, like, yeah, there might have been aliens and we might have faked it. And I don't know. There was a lot of stuff. So people kind of are speculate that this journal may be, some
Questionable.
wishy-washy fantasy. Yeah.
Right.
But
It
I don't
might be
buy it.
questionable.
Um, so yeah, he wrote a diary. And so a lot of this stuff comes to, so remember back to Operation Highjump, 1946, 47. Basically, people speculate his team encountered a secret entrance to a hollow earth. And it's possible that he was in contact with advanced civilizations or even possibly extraterrestrial. And there's also the whole ice wall thing. So you see, I don't know. I see a lot of videos about the ice wall on my feed, but that could be because I'm in that like crazy conspiracy rabbit hole
Yeah, I'll
on
tell you what,
my feed. Yeah.
I went on YouTube
Yeah.
earlier to research, Admiral Byrd, and everything that came up was
Ice wall.
about the secret civilization in Antarctica.
All right. So the Lost Diary, back to that one. One of the most persistent aspects of Byrd's conspiracy is the alleged Lost Diary that supposedly detailed his encounters with UFOs and other strange phenomena. In the diary, he supposedly wrote about traveling to a land beyond the pole. And that's this whole ice wall thing. Encountering advanced beings, sometimes described as luminous or otherworldly, while no such diary has ever been confirmed. So you can't buy it on Amazon, or not the official one.
Right.
Although there are some books that speculate all this stuff. So, who knows that, it's
so
a crazy world. Yeah.
Yeah. So according to the diary, according to reports about this diary, he was doing a flight over Antarctica and lost contact for several hours with radio contact. And during this time period, he'd started seeing like mountain ranges with forests on them.
Okay.
And he was flying down a little bit lower with his binoculars, trying to see what was going on there. And he started seeing animals grazing in this valley between these mountains. Yeah. And he looked closely. First, he thought it was an elephant, but then he realized it was a woolly mammoth that were just like grazing on these plains down there. Now, this is according to his diary. And
diary that nobody can find.
His wings and his windshield started like, they were icing up. And so they started to thaw out. And so he took his glove off and he put his hand to the window and said, was warm. It was 74 degrees is what he said that was the air temperature there. And
because like my truck, he's got one of those thermometers on the outside that you can see.
That's right.
All right, go on.
So then something takes control of his plane. Right. And it lands him. This thing, these things take control of his plane and lands down in the valley there. And he starts meeting I think they're called the whites, the aliens, the white people that are they're just like Aryans, you know what I mean? Just Nazis.
Like that movie Powder. Oh, okay.
He saw the aircraft around him weren't planes, but they had swastikas on them. So they were definitely like super Nazis is basically what it was.
Super Nazis.
They had a whole city there. And
yeah, go ahead.
What aliens always tell people for some reason is what they told him was to stop experimenting with nuclear technology. We were going to destroy ourselves with it. And for some reason, aliens always come with the same, reports of aliens always come with the same message.
I feel like the aliens are always telling us to stop with the nukes because they're afraid we're going to be better than them. That's what I think.
I think so too. And I think see, they live in an alternate dimension, but nuclear weapons, they span all the dimensions when they're exploded. So we're blowing up their world when we set off nukes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I got to say. And you brought up the Nazis. So back to the, like him seeing UFOs. And that's the thing. He supposedly reported of seeing a lot of flying disc objects in his diary that nobody can find. So some people speculate that Nazi Germany had established secret bases in Antarctica during World War II. After the war, it was alleged that Byrd's mission was partly to investigate the bases and their advanced technologies.
Well, they sent a massive military force down there during this Operation Highjump, right?
Right, exactly. And why would you do that? Now, and I want to know is, all right, we can't go to the moon and explore it, at least as private citizens, although luckily Elon is looking into that for us, but we can't go check it out. And then everybody's like, the Nazis are still on the backside. And then we can't go to Antarctica because the Nazis are there.
Right.
What's going on? I mean, these guys are a little good at hiding and they know where to go. And
they have all this advanced technology, but they're still hiding out.
Nazi, what is supporters, I guess, that are in the government that are secretly, stopping us from, really getting to the truth. Well, they keep growing with their alien technology and their elephants with tusks or whatever they are out there.
The woolly mammoths.
Woolly mammoths. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think's going on. The Nazis are out riding woolly mammoths and we're, sitting here. They probably moved on past the whole racist thing and whatever. I don't know what they're doing these days.
Yeah, super Nazis, dude. They're not regular Nazis. These are like the super Aryan. So yeah, the government confiscated this diary, as one of our listeners mentioned here.
That's the same thing. They did it to Tesla too.
That's right.
He had all that good, information. He knew about the aliens and everything, and the government's like, nah, it ain't gonna happen.
And is it a coincidence that 20 years later after this mission, we're landing on the moon? Is it a coincidence that technology advanced so much from this one exploration that we're already landing on the moon 20 years later?
Well, it does kind of circle back to the Nazis, though, because remember, we got, Einstein and all those German scientists that all of a sudden came over and are like, oh, jet propulsion.
Einstein was not like a Nazi scientist, though. He was just a regular Jewish dude. They kind of kicked him out. But yeah, there were massive amounts, Operation Paperclip. There are massive amounts of Nazi scientists that came to the United States people that were working with the V2 rockets, started working for NASA in the United States on their rocket systems.
And then technology boomed. Could it all be related to Admiral Byrd? That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's out there. He's on top of it and, it's all connected. But I got to say, it really does come down to this guy's a badass, right? He's the foundation of probably a third of all conspiracies on the internet, conspiracy theories.
100%. Ancient aliens, they're all over this.
All of it is like, right back to this guy. And, so if you're setting the standard like that, one, you're a badass, right? That's I see that. Two, he just was willing to explore the unknown. And I got to say, like I said, I didn't want to go feed the chickens this morning in 20 degrees. And
Yeah.
you're talking about like minus 80. And I know you're like, well, they probably had pretty good thermal underwear back in the, 20s or whatever, but I'm just saying it's pretty significant. They didn't have the fancy, what is it, Gore-Tex and all the different
Right.
things that you buy that,
Right.
shield
No,
you from
these dummies were still using like cotton as their undergarments, you know?
yeah, who knew? Yeah, but I think we've gone like full circle back to cotton. That now it's somehow the perfect breathable material,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just seems a little crazy to me that we, the world evolves and we really haven't gone back. And it is kind of weird. I mean, I understand there's better things to spend your money on, but it's
Mhm.
not like we prioritize our money in anything useful anyway these days. Anybody
No.
can look at the budget and be like, yeah, really?
What is all
Was
this
that
shit?
right? Yeah. So we may as well be going back to Antarctica. I mean, why are we worried about harassing other countries when we could just be exploring unknown worlds, Kevin?
Mhm. And apparently there's a lush green valley in Antarctica that we could just be setting up our new colony. Kick those super Nazis out and take over, man. Why not?
Exactly. Exactly. Now you're getting it. I don't know. I mean, a lot of these groundbreaking guys, though, it's so amazing to just jump into the unknown like that and really, above and beyond. I mean, I work with some really hardworking guys and people who, really tackle things that seem impossible for, average folk. But this is impossible to guys like that, to guys who, do the most things. These are like super extreme, you know?
Mhm. Right.
And to just be that fearless and be like, you know what, I'm going to put everything else aside and go. I don't know. That's pretty badass. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, he's definitely a very impressive person. I mean, I spend a lot of time in cold weather here, upstate New York. It was, you know, 3 below zero when I left for work yesterday morning. I'm not like a fan of that shit. And I gotta admit, getting 80 degrees colder than that, I'm not interested.
You're not a fan?
Not interested in one bit, man. When you get in your car in the morning and start it up and you're like, fuck, 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 fuck.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
your whole body's shaking, trying to warm up, waiting for the car to warm up.
I just don't know how I ever lived before a heated steering wheel. That's the new
Yeah.
thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's funny because I took the truck and I have the heated steering wheel. Doesn't really have the heated seats anymore. They don't really work
They
because
don't really work anymore.
but the I then take the car the next night and I get in and there's no heated steering wheel. And I'm like, what the hell is this? This is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Garbage.
How do I even live?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I would have fared quite as well. I don't know. I mean, I used to be younger once. This guy, I don't know. He was just a badass. So that's all I'm saying. Anyway, we really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content, this kind of thing you're into, and you like learning about how to be a little bit more prepared and that kind of stuff, I would say like, subscribe, make sure you check us out, share it with your friends. And I really appreciate you guys, hanging out and enjoying it. So, with that, I would say stay safe and we will talk to you guys next week.